In the companion to the Book of Common Worship, we read this about the season of Advent. It says, "In Advent, we expectantly wait for the one who has already come." We expectantly wait for the one who has already come. In the modern church, I think in large part, we have lost the sense for this. Advent seems to be more about expectantly waiting for Christmas to come, rather than expectantly waiting for something that God is going to do. So what does it mean to wait for what God is doing? There's this passage in the book of Mark where the disciples ask Jesus almost this exact question. They want to know when is God going to move? When is God going to act? When is God going to restore everything? And here's what Jesus says in chapter 13, beginning at verse 34. Jesus said, it's like a man going on a journey. When he leaves home and puts his servants in charge, each with his work, and commands the doorkeeper to be on the watch. Therefore, keep awake. Keep awake, for you do not know when the master of the house will come, in the evening or at midnight, or at cockcrow or at dawn, or else he may find you asleep when he comes suddenly. And so what I say to you, I say to all, keep awake. Keep awake. If I'm honest, at first reading, this reminds me of those dreaded words from childhood. Go to your room and wait for your father to come home. But I think there is another, more appropriate understanding of the type of waiting that Jesus is talking about here in the Gospel of Mark. It's this eager and active anticipation of the return of a loved one. Think of awaiting the return of a spouse from a long trip away, or of a college student coming home from their first semester at school, or a parent coming home from a business trip. What do? We prepare their favorite meal, we tidy the living space, we make their room just right. It is this waiting in hope. Reggican is a small town that's located up in the mountains of south central Norway. And it exists largely because of a hydroelectric plant that was built there nearly a century ago. It's cold there, and it's dark during the winter, much like the rest of Norway, but to an entirely different extent. You see, the way that the town is situated here in the hills, from late September until about early March, the sun is completely hidden by the surrounding mountains. For half the year, these people here in Reggican, they do not feel the sun. They are perpetually in the shade. They're teased with it as they can see it illuminating the surrounding peaks just out of reach. These people, they know what it is like to yearn for light, for the heat of the sun. And so they went to work. In fact, they went to great lengths constructing these three large solar-powered, computer-controlled mirrors to steadily track the movement of the sun across the sky and reflect its rays down onto the square, bathing it in bright sunlight. One resident of the town said this, that the rest of the year you do sort of get used to the shade. You end up not thinking about it, really. But this is so warming. Not just physically, but mentally. Mentally, it's warming. And so here's the one thing this Advent season. Let us not be a people that simply get used to the shade, going about life as usual, but rather those who so desire the warm light of God's goodness that we are willing to go to great lengths just to get a taste. And so I want to invite you this Advent season, would you join us in preparing as if God may be breaking into the world at any moment? You can join us for worship. You can join us for the Christmas concert on December 13th. You can join us for our Advent experience on December 2nd, 9th, and 16th. You can join us virtually. You can join us in person. I want to invite you to grab one of our Advent devotionals this coming Sunday, and you can find that also on the website or in the app. How will you be a part of this waiting in hope, preparing this world for the return of the King? Friends, be safe, be well, happy Thanksgiving, and we will see you in church.